Hello ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here bringing another StarCraft commentary, and this time it's going to be quite an awesome series for you. This is going to be SK 1 and Samsung Khans, the two of the great powerhouses in Pro League, duking it out once more, and this first set is going to be, could actually potentially be a really good game. Here in the top right corner in yellow for SK 1, we've got Best. And in the bottom left corner in, looks like brown, yeah, there it is, it's in brown, we have, for Samsung Khan, we have Turn. So the enigma known as Turn, the guy who wins the most fun games and then loses the games that he absolutely should win. Goes back and forth with Turn. Consistency, I think, is a problem, but overall, I like Turn. I think he's a good player if he can just get a little more consistent and close out the deal when he gets an advantage. I think he could turn out to be a pretty strong player, and he's actually done really well against against SK in the past. And before we get onto that, it looks like we actually have some cheese coming in here from Best, and look at that, star sense from Turn, scouting it out right off the bat, going cross positions right into the middle of the map, and scouts out the cheese from Best, so he knows what's on his way. He already sees the pylon, and he knows that there's soon there's going to be a gateway coming down, and then the zealots to follow. So great start here from Turn, able to scout that out. And Best, what will he do? It looks like he's actually looks like he's going to abandon this. Yes, it actually looks like he's going to abandon this pylon and the whole cheese idea here. And I think he might, yeah, he's thrown out a pylon inside of his own base again. So it looks like he's just going to scrap the whole cheese idea that he had, his whole game plan. He's going to scrap it here, and he's going to play this, he's just going to wing this game, basically. He's going to play like he's on Battle.net and just go for it and see what happens, and come up with a plan. And I'm curious to see how this turns out. Usually a lot of the Korean players generally, one of the few complaints I think that people have about Korean players, and myself included, is that they tend to, when they have a plan, they tend to stick to it, and most of them don't adapt very readily or very willingly in a lot of situations. But it looks like Best here is going to completely change his entire game plan, throwing down his Nexus actually, so it's a very early Nexus. I don't know what that's, probably like a 14, 15 Nexus, something like that, with that second pylon already down there. So this is going to be turn into a big macro game, or Best is going to try to turn it into a macro game, and depending upon how long it takes Turn to figure out what's going on, it could actually end up being a problem for Turn if he expands very late. If he goes for something like a siege expand, a blind siege expand, and expands very slowly, this could be problematic for him. So we'll have to see how that develops here. I'm sure pretty soon he's going to realize that, hey, wait a second, there's no zealot, and there really should be one knocking on my door, not allowing me to get this wall up so easily. So I think Turn's gonna have a good idea pretty soon that something messed up is going on. And there you go, there you see the SCV going in the middle of the map, seeing that there's no gateway there, and he knows that there's definitely been a change in plan for Best. Now at the beginning of this game I was mentioning that Turn has a history of playing very well against SK Telecom's Big Three. He's played Fantasy once and he's beaten him. He's played Best once and he's beaten him. And he's played Bisu once, and I believe that was Turn's first televised game. I'm pretty sure if it's not his first televised game, it's one of his very earliest. And that was one of the most entertaining games around. I actually did cast it, so if you want to watch it, go look up Turn Bisu on my channel, and it's pretty fun. It was a very close game. Turn did lose, but it was a very entertaining game. It was definitely worth a watch for sure. So he's done very well in the past against this team, and I actually love the choice of starting off with him and sending him out as your first player, because no matter who SK sends out, Turn's gonna have confidence against him. Wins against two of the Big Three and a really close game against Bisu, and everyone else on SK, I'm sure Turn is probably pretty confident of. So I really like the choice there by January to send Turn out at the start. And there you go, January on the right, the great tactician, and then Coach Cho on the left for SK as well. So there we go, those are the coaches. First Vulture is out right now for Turn, and I don't believe Dragoon range is finished, so it looks like this is just going to be a regular Dragoon. I don't believe that Cybernetics core has been spinning yet, so he's going to save up his gas and probably going to start that up pretty soon. He's over 200 gas. I think he's just trying to get rid of this SCV before he does anything, and there it is. There's the Cybernetics core spinning, deciding not to wait any longer. at this time. And there's another SCV going to the 9 o'clock position. Could this be a command center or perhaps a starport, maybe hide a drop ship over there in the 9 o'clock spot, a little bit of an odd spot. And it looks like this is actually going to be a command center. Yes, that is going to be a command center. So Turn is going to try and turn this into a huge macro game. He sees the second base coming up from Best early, and since he's at this cross position, and since he really was expecting a cheese, he didn't have much of an opportunity to really charge across the map and make Best pay for taking that that early nexus. So what's his counter? His counter is to go ahead and say, well, you know what? You can do that. I'm just going to take another base. And Turn's going to try and turn this into a macro game, and this should be very, very entertaining. It's going to be a somewhat passive start to the game here. We can see Best already establishing a Dragoon line at the front. This is Sniper Ridge, so on one of the branches of the Ridge swastika, we're going to have a line of Dragoons to try and keep any sort of vultures from getting into Best base and establish at least a defensive position until he can get some observers out and start clearing some mines so he can really, you know, push out a little bit more safely. And now we do see Turn placing mines in strategic positions around the map. He's going to know in a lot of the major scouting areas. He's going to know if probes come out. He's definitely going to know if any military units come out, of course, due to the mines. But I actually really like the placement of those mines on a lot of the major scouting routes. So that's very nice by him as well. And there's the nice little line that we see there. And Bisu over here, I think those are those new codes for SK? I think those might be new codes. Like the red and the blue? Maybe not. I'm not sure. I feel like those are new codes though. Those look a little different than what I remember. Maybe it's just been a little while since I watched an SK game, but it definitely does look a little bit odd. To me at least. And we actually have a probe sneaking out here across the top left. And where is that going to go? I'm a little curious to see what's going to happen with this. We have a Citadel Lagoon and an Observatory coming up. Very, very standard stuff coming in from Best. Sticking to this 2-base build. And his probe, is he going to catch this 3rd base? And yes, he is. So Best is going to check this out, see the 3rd base. And this is going to be very disturbing to Best. Best is actually in a pretty pickle here right now. He scouted out this 3rd base so late that he could try to take a 3rd base himself. He may actually be doing that right now, but his 3rd base is going to be so late to kick in that even though yeah, that's a scout, not a pro. Well, yeah, it looks like he's going to take his 3rd base, but even as it comes up, it's going to kick in so much later than Turn's that there's going to be a pretty large window that Turn will have where his forces will just be so much more powerful than Best. The other option that Best has is to stick with 2-base, maybe go with the 2-base Arbiter play. We do see the Templar Archives, and he is throwing that in that nexus as well. He's going to go for those quick Arbiters, try and macro as much as he can off of these 2 bases, and hold off Turn really. And this is kind of the weirdest defensive. What? Okay, well this is the oddest defensive position I've ever seen. He's got a bunker like on the lower part of the ridge and right by some tree line. So we'll see if the tree line. Well, he actually could. He could put his tanks actually in the tree line, and yeah, just like that. And if he positions them correctly, technically he'll get a mischance on the Dragoon shots if they come in. So that actually could end up being important if Best decides to get aggressive. I don't think Best will in this position, but it's possible that if Best did get aggressive, that is kind of a unique little defensive position. I'm a little bit disappointed that he's revealed the location of that like he's going to take advantage of the trees over there, because I think that's something he could have saved for one of those occasions when he's actually getting pressured and maybe try and make a defensive spot there, and like his Protoss opponent would be like, what? This is the weirdest spot. I'm just going to kill you there. Oh wait, there's trees. I can't kill you. I think that would be pretty funny. At least I do. But he's revealed it, and I think, and I wonder if we'll see people maybe take advantage of that in the future as well. And there's an observer coming into Turn's base, and Turn scouts it out, scans it, and blows it up. So there you go. Best not getting very much of a factory count, seeing the 4 factories, and that's really it, which really doesn't tell him a whole lot of anything. He's going to throw up a couple more gateways of his own, but I expect Turn to throw down a bunch more factories pretty soon. Off of 3 bases, you should be able to get to about 9 factories, as well as get your starport and armory and all the works going, and really start macroing. And I really like Turn's chances in this game. You're really going to start seeing that kick in. That 3rd base is going to start kicking in the next 4 or 5 minutes, and especially once the extra factories come down, you're just going to see round after round after round of huge forces coming in. There are all of the factories coming in. We are going to go up to 8 factories here, 9 factories, and Turn is going to play the macro game versus the macro beast, the macro PvT beast Best. So Turn is going to, this is going to be pretty funny. I actually actually really like this. This is going to be awesome. If he can pull this off and he can out-macro Best, I think that'd be great. I think that'd be awesome for his confidence. I think that'd be a nice little smack in the face of Best, and I think that's pretty cool. Very, very nice here by Turn if he can pull it off. And you can see him already. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you look at the supply counts, you can see it getting very, very close, especially once those factory finishes. You can see how very, very quickly it is going to even up, and this should be pretty fun. We do have a shuttle out as well for Best, and it's going to be for Zealot Bombs, and we'll see if this is actually, if he can get some early Zealot Bombs before the fight actually occurs, if Best can maybe pick off even just 2 tanks, even if he can just get 2 tanks to fall with these 4 Zealots and a Zealot Bomb, that would be a huge win for him, and would really diminish the power of the push. We have some Vultures with speed trying to find a way past the Dragoons. The Dragoons doing a good job of keeping them back, but the tanks are going to join them as well now, so the Vultures forcing the Dragoons back, and the tanks are following up, so the Dragoons can't actually turn around and shoot back for fear of getting annihilated. And now it looks like Turn's going to take the middle of the map, establishing his presence there. He's got some tanks there and kind of excessively clumped. Needs to be a little bit careful. I don't know if he knows about the Arbiters yet, but there is an Arbiter out. Stasis will be finished pretty soon, so he's got to be somewhat careful, and his tank line on the bottom is a little bit exposed as well. So if Best can do this right, if he can get a couple rounds of Zealots along with the Zealot Bombs, he can bring the Zealot Bombs in from the back, and while streaming some Zealots from the front, this actually could be pretty effective in terms of countering this push. And it looks like the Dragoons are going to attack from the back, but there are no Zealots there in the back, and those Dragoons are all going to fall super easily. And here comes the shuttle just dropping a couple Zealots off, and it's not going to be enough. I think Turn's actually going to take this battle here. A lot of Zealots are streaming in, but there's enough Vultures and Goliaths in front of the second line of tanks, and Turn is going to take the field, at least for now. He's going to take the lead in this game, pushing Best back. Best not really. I don't think Best really was able to get the best position on that. His Dragoons in the back just were not effective without the Zealots in the front, and that Arbiter doing a great job with the stealth and helping him out a lot. Some Zealots still coming in here, and he does pick up a couple tanks, and the tank count is starting to get a little bit low. It looks like we're down to about 4 to 6 tanks right now, and January looks like she's getting a little bit concerned over there watching this game. 5 tanks remaining, as well as all of the Vultures, and he still manages to keep that 1 tank alive. Some nice micro there by Turn. Most players would have just eaten it, and but Turn does not. He does manage to keep that extra tank alive, and that is definitely going to be a nice little victory for him as well. So Turn doing a really good job right here, streaming in some Vultures here to the third base. He's going to pick up a ton of probes, and this base is going to be, even if this base doesn't fall, if the Nexus is somehow saved, that base is essentially dead. There will be no probes there for a very, very long time. It's doubtful that that Best is going to be able to repopulate that very quickly in this battle. He's got to clear out Turn's forces as well as establish defensive position to stop the next round as well. So definitely going to be a huge problem here for Best. You can see he's already down about 35 supply count, down a base, and his tech, he's still got the tech advantage with the Arbiter out. If he can get a couple stasises, he will have the tech advantage. If he can afford, he doesn't have a ton of gas, but if he can afford maybe just a couple of Templars with Storm, that could end up helping him out in the tech while we wait for Turn to get Science Vessels and for him to use his 2,000 gas that he's got sitting there. If Turn can start using that, that'll be really, really nice. But his macro's starting to fail him here a little bit. Turn's starting to push up towards 3,000 resources, which is just not good. It's not what you want. And Turn pushing up here has got to be a little bit careful. He's almost asking to be flanked here. If he pushes up north a little too far, Best can really come from both sides again, and this time he won't be going in the middle of the map where there's those 2 tiny chokes that he was trying to push into. This time Turn will be really out in the open, so he's got to be somewhat careful here. Vulture's going towards those Dragoons on the left side, charging them, trying to mine them up, and the tanks are following up, and here comes Best with his huge army, and only 4 tanks there, so Turn actually in a little bit of trouble here. I don't know if he's going to be able to win this battle. It looks like he's actually going to lose it. Too many Zealots in there are getting right into the tank line. Almost all the tanks are down. Just a couple tanks left. 2 tanks left. 1 tank. No tanks left. And Turn loses the field, at least for now. He loses the field. Best manages a huge, huge play there, catching Turn out of position, not in siege mode, and catching him from 2 different directions at once. So great play there by Best, able to take down a whole huge chunk of Turn's forces. And Turn really needs to consolidate here. He's trying to reestablish his position on this ridge to defend his 3 bases. At the same time, it looks like Best is going to try and take the 12 o'clock position for his new third, and a good stasis coming off, picking off 3 tanks. So if Best can maybe sweep in here, pick off some more units, and we'll be able to sweep out those tanks when they come out of stasis as well. Some mines doing a lot of damage there to those Zealots of Best. So those Zealots are pretty damaged. You can see how quickly they're going down. They should not be going down that quickly, even to Vultures and Goliaths, which actually Vultures do pretty well against against Zeus, but they should not be going down that quickly. And right now, the forces for Turn are in stasis and surrounded, and Turn is going to come in here and try and save them, bring in a couple tanks, sieging them up, and it looks like he's actually going to be able to do it. Perhaps just a couple Zeus left, and yes, Best is going to be forced to retreat. Oh, that mine, that's a brutal mine. That's just a mean mine right there. Best is going to see it now and just going to be really distressed about that. Best coming back in here with more Dragoons. He's got to be careful. A good scan comes off. He will be able to do a lot of damage with those tanks. Nope, doesn't come in time. So he's going to be able to sweep those out. And what else have we got going on here? I'm still waiting for the science vessels. I mean, he's sitting on 1700 gas over here. Turn. He could really afford to hold on 2 starports, and yet science vessels really rolling. I'm really not sure why we haven't seen any yet. We really should have by now, to be honest. This stage in the game, as soon as he saw those arbiters and he had all that money laying around, he really should have thrown down the science facility and raced really to the gas. And we got a bunch of vultures up here at the 12 o'clock position. Unfortunately, I don't think they were able to catch too many probes. I don't think there's much there, so they are going to get trapped and fall. Their mines are going to take down a few dragoons, but not a whole lot, and you're just going to slow down the mining and keep Best on 2 bases for just that much longer. Best has been sitting here for a really long time on 2 bases. First science vessel is out, and probably EMP is researching. If it's, yeah, it's probably EMP still researching at this time before the science vessel's able to get into position. It looks like Best is actually trying to just establish his position on the field, at least establish his quarter of the map, doing a pretty good job of that. And Turn coming in here with a ton of vultures and a ton of mines all over the place. And what is he going to be able to take out with all this? It looks like he may actually have the ability to take out a ton, and he does take out a few dragoons and a bunch of zealots, but it's actually hard to tell. That was a lot of vultures that died, a lot of mines that went down, and a bunch of units actually for Best that went down as well. I want to call that kind of a draw. I mean, there's a lot of units that died for a lot of stuff in general that died, but it could have been so much worse for Best. And now it looks like Turn is just going with the no nonsense here. He's just like, screw it, let's just charge, on siege and go for the 12 o'clock position. Put Best, if he can take out the 12 o'clock positions, this game is over. Best is forced to be on 2 bases again, he just won't be able to do anything. Good stasis catching 2 of the tanks, and Turn with his tanks kind of in really odd positions. Doesn't have them all supporting his forces right now, so it looks like Best may actually get to this. No, Turn just with too many forces. This tanks in the back, actually some of them were actually able to lob into that fight, so actually did a pretty decent job. And Best with his PVT, I mean, this is just amazing. Look at this, his timing on this, his excellent stasis. He is attacking every time Turn unsieges. Like, Best knows exactly when Turn is going to unsiege and move, and he attacks right then. And that is exactly what's keeping Best in the game. Best just amazing PvT sense in this game. His incredible just game understanding is keeping him in this game right now. A lesser player would have fallen several minutes ago, but Best able to hang in there. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold out. There's just so much money, so much stuff pouring in from Turn right now, and he's just so far behind. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold out, but he's trying right now. More Zealots streaming in, going to try and pick off everything here and see if he can kill the units as they come out of stasis. You know, he can kill like 1/10 of the army at a time, which would be a really great boon to him, but he's not able to do so. It's just too much stuff there for Turn. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, and I think we're gonna see Turn just overwhelm Best with just pure numbers. And personally, I think that's hilarious to see Best just get like overwhelmed with numbers, get like macroed to hell. I think that's just funny. I'm really kind of amused right now. And Vulture's forcing all of Best forces back, and this is it, folks. That is going to be game. I don't see how Best could possibly get out of this. Those arbiters don't have any stasis, and there may be 1 left, and it's just not going to be enough. Not enough forces, not enough money coming out. His main and natural are essentially both mined out, and his rally point now is going to start getting sieged. This is going to be too tough for him. No money coming in, only 300 minerals right now. And that is going to be that, folks. Just a matter of Best typing out. There goes an arbiter, and the second arbiter, will that go down as well? Yeah, it looks like that one's gonna go down as well. Maybe, no, looks like it just barely survived. And in the meantime, Turn's taking his 4th base. Looks like his main is mined out, and he's taking his 5th base. This game is beyond over. The fat lady is singing. Bunky is not singing. Bunky will be taking the walk. Samson Khan wins the first game. Turn taking down Best on Sniper Ridge. A really, really nice game from Turn, taking down Best again. So he's 2-0 versus the PVT Master Best. So fantastically played by Turn. I really only think he made one mistake that entire game, really, and that was his decision to push up. And when he got surrounded by Best forces coming out of his natural as well as the Dragoon, his one mistake that entire game, and it kind of started to let Best kind of get back into it. But Turn just able to keep the pressure on and take set 1 for Samson Khan. 1-0 Samson Khan. We'll be going on to set 2. I will see you guys all there.